And of course, the biggest event in Atlanta is the Northside Hospital Peachtree Road Race taking place tomorrow. 55,000 runners set to descend onto Buckhead, will run to Midtown, and they're going to be dealing with possibly historic heat. So our Chesley McNeil said that if it hits 81 degrees, that is going to be the hottest start time temperature ever in the history of the Peachtree Road Race. So I want to welcome in Dr. Michael Kraft with Emory University School of Medicine, because this is Dr. Kraft going to pose a danger to runners out there tomorrow. Thank you, first of all, for being on the show with us. And tell us what's actually happening in your body as it tries to deal with the heat and humidity that our runners are going to be dealing with tomorrow morning.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for having me. Heat's often the toughest competitor. So, it doesn't really play by the same rules as fatigue or a tough opponent. Every other kind of hard effort responds to grit, pushing harder, digging in. It gets easier if you manage to back off a little bit. But heat does the opposite. The harder you work to fight through it, the more internal heat you generate, which makes the problem worse, not better. It also doesn't really give you a clean warning sign the way a cramp or a stitch does. Your sense of effort and your actual physiologic strain, quietly separate. So you can feel right up. You can feel okay right up until you're not, and it's really relentless. It's not one hard mile; it's every mile, kind of compounding the whole way. The athletes who struggle the most with this are often the fittest because their instinct is to push through discomfort, which is exactly the wrong move here.
Yeah, that was going to be my next question. Of course, this is competitive for many runners. They want to beat their own personal times. They want to beat the other runners, even some of the later waves. Folks want to do their best out there. So at what point should folks say, hey, this is not something I should push through. I need to slow down?
Yeah, I mean, so, as you think through, if you start to, warning signs, so you stop sweating, that's a big red flag. So making sure you get to shade to cool down quickly is important there. Realizing that something called cardiovascular drift happens. So, what that means is the effort that you're putting in as heat starts to climb up, your heart rate starts to climb up with it. And so if you notice that your heart rate is really, really high and you feel more winded, that's a good time to back off and walk through it. It's important to think that, walking through this race is really deliberate. For you to finish the race, so that way you can finish the race versus injuring yourself. Because as you pointed out, the heat index, I think, for tomorrow is 100 to 105. And that is really concerning, especially, making sure you hydrate before and, a few days before.
The Peachtree Road Race says they are going to have cooling and water spray stations. May not be enough for some folks. So if bystanders, folks volunteering during the race, see somebody struggling, how should they react?
So if they see someone struggling, if they start to look confused, they're already super far behind the 8 ball, so to speak. So getting them again to a cool space that's shaded is important. If they're able to drink, drinking cold water can help people cool down very fast. In the field, we've use something called gastric lavage, where you put a bunch of water inside someone and you pull it out, but cold water, which helps cool off. So drinking cool water can really help. Getting their core body temperature down is really important. So if there's ice, they can put them in the big areas, kind of on the neck, in the groin. Have someone lay down, push their feet up, can help with venous return, because some people can get really lightheaded. And a big thing, especially after the race, is continue to walk. Don't stop running as soon as you finish the race. It's going to be hot. You're going to dilate. You may have a lot of fluid in your legs that you don't realize. So just keep walking. The people who stop usually start to feel lightheaded and potentially can faint, which can be harmful.
And after runners go downhill for 2.5 miles, they're going to hit the infamous cardiac hill, a 3% incline right at that halfway point. Runners have already done a lot of running at that point. So what makes this combination so brutal?
Yeah, so Cardiac Hill, or I think they're calling it Hope Hill this year.
It's nicer.
What's that? Yeah, it seems nicer, right? But two things stack on each other, kind of when you're hitting cardiac hill. So, physically, again, as you pointed out, it's a real hill. And at some point, I think it does hit like a 6% grade for about a quarter mile, kind of cresting right near Piedmont Hospital. But the bigger issue is really the timing. So, you hit right at mile 3. So right after 2.5 miles of running downhill, you have to start climbing the hill again. But running downhill feels easy, and it's really easy to pick your pace up during that time. But also running downhill in the heat can quietly raise that heart rate the whole time. So that cardiovascular drift that I had talked about before. And it puts a lot of pressure on your joints and your muscles, causing eccentric damage, or that negative if you're doing an exercise that generates a lot of extra heat you don't actually feel yet. So by the time the hill arrives, your cardiovascular system's already compensating, and now all of a sudden you have to redirect blood flow to your legs for the climb. Right when your body, because of that drift, also needs to put blood to your skin to cool you down. So both the demands are demanding, and it's drawing from the same limited supply. So that collision is really what makes the hill concerning or dangerous, not just hard.
And I know a lot of runners, despite the heat, despite all of these tough conditions, they want to finish strong safely. So to wrap here, what is your one last piece of advice that folks should focus on if they're running the race tomorrow morning?
Yeah, so start hydrating today, not just before the race. So that's really important. Hydration status is built over days, not just hours. So plasma volume needs to expand, which is the fluid component of your blood. That can really help a lot in terms of being hydrated. Trying to avoid alcohol the night before is really, really important. And then, once you have that prepared, really just, pace smart, not fast. So again, pacing is really, really important. And in that 2.5 mile downhill, shorten your stride a little bit, because that can make a huge difference in that pacing. So, again, this year may not be the year to get your PR.
Yep. At the end of the day, it's for fun. It is on a holiday, so just have fun and be safe out there. I want to thank you so much, Dr. Michael Kraft with Emory University School of Medicine. Thanks for joining us nice and early here and making the time.
Thank you so much. Have a great day.